What's up, you guys? It's Clearski. I'm back. If you guys can see, I'm standing in front of this beautiful memorial with all the names inscribed of the men and women that served our country, the fallen soldiers, if you will, of the Korea War. And if you guys can see, June 25th, 1950 to July 27th, 1953. And the reason why I'm standing here today, I'm back creeping up here in southeast Portland at the beautiful Willamette National Cemetery, which, if you've crept with me before, we have visited many of times to pay our respects and visit the final resting place, the graves or headstones, if you will, of the final resting places of people of Portland, historical. And if you guys can see, way out in the distance, not only are we surrounded by all these beautiful trees, but we've got Mount Hood there in the distance. So definitely a beautiful shot of the cemetery that holds the final resting place of Mr. Robert Harold Adkins, better known by his television radio name of Mr. ADDIE BOBKINS. That's right, the ADDIE BOBKINS show, which started in Eugene, Oregon, and its popularity grew very fast. So fast, in fact, that a local station, KPTV, which still actually resides here in Portland, picked up the show, and it ran for many years here in Portland. And that was the Bobby Adkins show. And his final resting place is just right over here, which we're going to visit here in a second. But I also wanted to tell you guys a little bit more about what he accomplished in his life. Was basically the gentleman to pave the path for a lot of people of Portland, the likenesses of other cartoon shows. If you guys remember the Ramblin' Rod show, the Ramblin' Rod show would have never existed if it wasn't for Mr. Bobby Adkins. He basically paved the way, was one of the very first people to take his show from radio to television, and featured a lot of cool commercials during his show, including Dunkin' Yo-Yos. I believe there was a plethora of cartoons that he featured, but the one that was he was mostly famous for was the Popeye show that he would run. And if you guys can see, there are a ton of people that had served. But I believe Mr. Bobkins, ADDIE Bobkins' grave rests right amongst these graves. I believe we passed it. I think it's 310. Let's see here. 290, 291, 293. And as soon as we get up here, I'll fill you guys in a little bit more about what he accomplished, not only as a pilot in the Korea War, but better known on his television show with Let's see. I think I may have missed it here. Let's double check here. Like I said, there are many of headstones, and you guys are basically going to find it with me here. But it is just an incredibly beautiful day to explore and pay our respects to basically all these people that have served. Oh, it looks like it's right here, you guys. Robert Harold Adkins, U.S. Air Force, Korea. Here it is, you guys. Here is Mr. Bobby Adkins, or ADDIE Bobkins' final resting place, February 22nd, 1932. Wow, ironically, he died in February as well. February 2nd, 2005. Which, if you're watching this vlog, depending upon when I upload, it is February 28th. So it's like he just had his birthday. Happy birthday. You definitely accomplished so much greatness in your life. And the reason why I come up here, not only to pay respects for you, but it's just so cool that the tie-in to Portland and everything that you accomplished helped really pave the way for a lot of other people. A lot of people wouldn't have known that you did a stint for Uncle Sam, I'm sorry, in the Air Force. So cool. A lot of people that relied on you to listen to some of their favorite albums and records. The Beatles were just coming about when you were starting, and they were all served up on the old school transistor radios. So cool. You were better known as ADDIE Bobkins, the king of Portland cartoons. So like I said, he definitely showcased a lot of commercials that the kids loved, including Dunkin' Yo-Yos. He showed a lot of cartoons. It's just so cool. In 1955, he launched his career in radio that eventually led to his television audience, with things transitioning. During his career in radio, he was on several radio stations in Portland, including KLIQ, KWJJ, KXL, and KEX. From 1957 to 1961, ADDIE Bobkins introduced his cartoons and his audiences to the peanut gallery of children's television. His popularity grew large enough that he moved from Eugene to Portland to work for an up-and-coming KPTV 12, and from 1961 into 1964 he hosted 3 children's programs on that station, including having his little beatnik hand puppet named Weird Beard and showing the likeness of Archway cookies and Fawn kids toys throughout his show. That is so cool. In the fall of 1964, Adkins took a gamble and accepted another television offer, bringing him and his family to Hollywood. His spot was filled, like I said, by Mr. Rod Anders, better known to the TV kids as Ramblin' Rod, who I totally remember would wear a really cool jacket with a whole bunch of buttons, and they had like the Smile Award, and he was the one that basically kind of took Mr. Robert Adkins' idea and rolled with it. They offered his job back at KPTV 12, but he was so incredibly happy with the way that Mr. Rod Anders, Ramblin' Rod, hosted the show and all his works. He basically decided to stay out of it, especially since he now had kids, 2 kids and a wife. That is so cool. In the 70s, he landed at KKEY and pursued a new direction in talk radio. Family life and church and other interests competed with his time. Although he never returned to limelight, the schedule and frantic schedule of his KPTV years, he was never too far from the limelight and was always ready to entertain when called upon. Ill health prevented him from a longer life. He retired to Marion County and lived at the retirement community in Woodburn. At age 72, Bob Adkins passed away, but a generation of Oregonians will never forget their hip KISN Pied Piper and the children friend they had in ADDIE BOBKINS. So cool that so many kids were able to grow up, and this gentleman helped pave the way for the likeness of Ramblin' Rod, and a couple other people that we're going to visit their grave sites here in the next vlog or two, which the likeness of Krusty the Clown was created. And so if it wasn't for Mr. Adkins himself basically paving the path for all that, you know, none of it would have been kind of created, if you will, because everybody kind of takes ideas and rolls with them. So super cool to know that Oregon holds such great history here. Willamette National Cemetery right here in Southeast Portland, the final resting place to the Portland Cartoon King. So cool. Not only did he serve for us in the Korea War, but went on to pave the way for many of others in Portland. So I appreciate you guys very much, as always, for creeping up here with me. And I hope you guys remember him. And if you do, and you have a fond memory, leave it in the comment section. I'd love to hear some of your fond memories. Maybe you were part of his cartoon gang. Maybe you remember his beatnik hand puppet. But if you guys do remember Mr. Anders, Rod Anders, Ramblin' Rod, anybody like that, make sure you guys leave it in the comment section. And I love you guys very much, and I appreciate you very much for tuning in. So that's going to do it from Willamette National Cemetery. You guys can hit that thumbs up. That way I know you liked the video. You can do me one better. You can ring that little bell down below. That way when I creep, you creepers will be the first to know. But that's going to do it for this edition of Creeping with Klearski. And I really appreciate you guys always tuning in and chiming in the comment section. So that's going to do it. And until then, I appreciate it very much. And until the next vlog, peace, you guys.